For 2019, a lot of things are changing in Irish drifting. And in the Drift Games Championships brought to you by Link Engine Management, safety is changing too. With cars getting faster, builds getting more extreme, and a lot of drivers opting to use high-octane race fuel, we had to come to the experts here at MurrayMotorsport.com, partner up, and make sure our guys on the grid were as safe as they can be. So Owen, we're here in Murray Motorsport HQ talking about the new safety regulations in drifting this year. Now we've recruited you guys, the experts, to talk us through them, and there's some confusion because guys are not sure why they're putting all this new safety gear in their car. So last year, if we want to start with fire extinguishers, this is what guys had, right? Single fire extinguisher in the car.
System,
handheld system. Well, I thought there was nothing wrong with that, but you made a good point to me when we were discussing the rules and regulations, saying that this is not really that much use in a car.
Yeah, so now we've gone for FIA systems, which come with multiple nozzles, which go in the cockpit, in the engine bay, and also point at the fuel tank. So with a 4-litre system like this, the driver literally pulls the cable or presses a button, will set off the extinguisher, and yeah, it'll put out any fire without having to obviously pull this out of the car and spray it.
So what we're saying now is not only are you safer and given more time to get out of the car, but it actually might save your car from burning to the ground as well with this plumbed-in system. Plus, if someone else, another driver on the grid, when you're queuing up, has a problem, you can grab your own handheld and go and help them. So
exactly.
You're kind of covered best case scenario to stop the fire very quickly and have nobody hurt.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so with fire extinguishers covered, next thing I want to talk about is hands devices. And they have something that we're bringing in to protect the neck of competitors drifting, a lot of side impacts, a lot of hits with the walls. And we were getting a little afraid people were going to get hurt. You guys suggested hands devices. Let's take a look at what they're all about.
Over the years, we've had some pretty big incidents in Irish drifting, and it was about time that we made some more inroads to try and protect our drivers on the grid.
All these devices here are frontal head restraints. A mandatory piece of equipment from the FIA for pretty much all forms of motorsport, and now also for drifting as well. For Irish rallying, it's been mandatory since 2009, and in the last couple of years it's mandatory for most forms. So within the frontal head restraints, there's two different devices. So we've got the hands device, the traditional one, and then we've got the hybrid system, which is a slightly newer device.
This one looks a little bit more complicated.
So both of them do the same job. Both of them pass the FIA test. Honestly, I wouldn't say one is safer than the other. I've been wearing this since 2005. Luckily, I haven't tested it out too many times, but there was one time in Monza where I had a crash, and I certainly was glad I had it on. I've also raced with the hybrid. The main advantage of the hybrid is that you don't have any piece of material sitting on the front of your chest. So you've got this strapped to your body, this sits behind you, and the harnesses from the car sit on your chest as they would.
They come through basically here to make sure the harnesses hold you in place. Okay.
Yeah, and these tethers connect to the helmet, so your head can't move forward in a shunt. The tether slides through the system, so when you've got this on, you can literally turn that much. You'll never need more than that in a drift car.
Which is the same as you'd normally be turning in a car, right?
Yeah.
So it's not going to hamper a drifter's performance in any way?
No. This one is slightly different because it straps to your body, so your body and the seat holds this in place, and these tethers strap to the helmet. And again, they'll stop your head going forward.
And again, with drifting it's getting faster, it's getting more extreme, the stops are getting more extreme too. If you've got more speed and you crash, you're going to stop much faster also. So this not only stops your head, I suppose, moving violently front and back, but also side to side. So that's something that can be very specific in drifting, right?
In the last 20 years, without a shadow of a doubt, this has been the #1 safety product that has really made a difference. For me, when people come into our store, I would always stress, even when this wasn't mandatory, that people would, spend a little bit less on your suit if you need to.
Yeah.
But certainly buy a good hands, a good hybrid or hands, and a good helmet. And they are the most important things.
Well, it's definitely, look, you can see the results from safety levels across motorsports starting to, people aren't having as many neck injuries because of these, and of course we don't want them in drifting either. So I think definitely a necessary addition to the grid, and it might take a little bit of getting used to for some of the guys out there, but they'll be thankful for it if they ever need it. So Owen, another big change this year is in helmets. Now, since the start of drifting, everyone's been wearing helmets, so we're making a change this year based on something that maybe drifters didn't realize as they were using helmets all those years, is that they weren't even fireproof. If you're using a motorcycle helmet or a motorbike helmet or even a kart helmet like this, there's no fire safety whatsoever if you're in the car, am I right?
Yeah, so the FIA helmets, and FIA put a lot of research and technology into the homologation. So if you've got a helmet like this on your head, it's like literally 10 times stronger than some of the cheap non-homologated helmets that you buy. Also, obviously, it's fireproof as well, so the whole lining is fireproof inside. So the big safety advantage in using an FIA homologated helmet.
I mean, it's scary to think that if you're in a fire in your car, a helmet, which is a motorbike or a car helmet, they're designed to be outside. They're not designed to be fireproof, so it would just melt onto your head, right?
Yes, it would, yes.
Which is not a good thing.
No.
So having the suit, everything else fireproof, but the helmet not fireproof, probably was something that was overlooked in drifting for a long time.
Absolutely, yeah.
So moving on to something that is FIA approved means, one, it can take an impact from the cage, which again, a car helmet or a motorbike helmet wouldn't have to do, and also it's fireproof. So definitely a step in the right direction there.
Yeah, it's designed exactly for the type of motorsport we're doing. So.
Excellent. Oh, and another big change to the regulations this year are harnesses. Originally, I used to think harnesses were just harnesses, whether they were 4 or 5 or 6. I never really knew why you would have more straps going everywhere, why you would need them. But this year we're bringing in a 6-point harness. Why is that?
So the 6-point is actually extremely important, and more important than people think, because when you're sitting in the seat, if you don't have the 6-point coming up through the seat in between your legs and you're in an impact, you tend to slide underneath the belts. And it's a common problem with 4-point. 4-point are now outlawed by FIA, and they all have to be 6-point. So yeah, this crotch strap is crucial to any harness. So
I mean, I've been in a drift car myself, and you can obviously tighten your straps as much as you want. You think every time you get in the car you tighten those straps, but you're actually bringing the actual center buckle up higher and higher as you go along, meaning that you can go underneath it, right? So this is to obviously stop that, to make sure that you're secure at all times, which makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's move on. So Owen, the last piece that you're going to have to protect is your actual body in a fire in one of our drift cars in the Drift Games Championship. And fire suits and race suits and all that kind of stuff can be quite confusing to people, because there's different amount of layers, there's different amount of FIA, whether regular or not. And again, there has been confusion in the past with kart suits that obviously they're not fireproof whatsoever. So talk us through the bare minimum of what you would recommend here at Murray's Motorsport for a race suit in the Drift Games Nationals or Extreme this year.
So basically, in terms of the layers, it's irrelevant, right? There can be 2 or 3 layer. Even there's a Formula 1 suit that's actually 1 layer. But what you need is an FIA suit. So this is the standard we need. We work to currently, FIA 856-2000, and this will protect you in a fire. So it gives you a certain amount of seconds to obviously try get out of the car and get away from a fire. And moving on from the suit, we also have, there's no point in having a fireproof suit and you're going to wear a cotton t-shirt underneath it that's flammable. So we also have an extra layer of fireproof clothing underneath it, and the balaclava as well.
Yeah, so in past you see in drifting, the guys have the suit, but then they open the suit and there's a cotton t-shirt underneath, which is of course flammable. This is now changing to that your t-shirt is fireproof, your suit is fireproof, your balaclava and your helmet. So you get that extra couple of seconds to get out of the car, along with the plumbed-in fire extinguisher, meaning that we shouldn't have drivers that are going to be burned or any sort of serious injuries throughout the year. And as you guys are very well aware, with all the race fuel that guys are using now and the high octane fuel, it is much more flammable in the cars, and this stuff is very necessary.
Yeah, exactly. So big step up from what was used previously using the FIA stuff.
Fantastic. Well, you also do some cool custom printed stuff here as well, so I'm sure a couple of the drivers will be looking at that as well. But there is the range of these aren't hugely expensive. Like, what are you talking about in range from top to bottom on race suits?
So yeah, we're talking around about €300 upwards for suits.
So for €300 to try and save your life in a fire in a car, it's not bad value.
Yeah, not bad.
Oh, and we've just had a walkthrough and an explanation with you guys about all the new products that are sort of an essential now in drifting and in the rule book for most championships around the world. The only thing I'm thinking though is, that's a lot of stuff if you've never had it before, and when you're getting your car ready for the start of the season and you're trying to get parts ready, this is a big expense. What are we talking ballpark to get yourself into, up to regulation at this point?
So we're racers ourselves, we know what it's like, especially coming up this season when you got to have everything done on the car. You don't want the added expensive stuff. So we've sourced the cheapest but proper quality, obviously all fully approved equipment that we can help the drift guys, and we have a discount structure in place for everybody that's taking part in the drift games.
So all the drivers competing in drift games will avail of a discount here at Murray Motorsport just on the products that they need.
Yeah, just get in touch with us. We have a code for all the competitors, and we can give it out.
Perfect. Well, that's going to help. But I'm still thinking it's a lot of money. I mean, yes, a discount helps, but could you go even further than that for these guys? I mean, they're really struggling to get to the start of this season, and they want to be as safe as possible, and we know this stuff is exactly what's needed in the sport. Have you got any other options for guys who are on a tight budget trying to get into the championship?
Yeah, look, so we know all this equipment is expensive, so we've introduced this year a new finance program, FlexiFi. So you can get all this stuff, just go murraymotorsport.com/finance, and you can have all that equipment from €37 a month.
Oh, so I can go in and take a pick of everything I want that I need to compete this year, but I can pay it off over time. So I can get my car ready, have my safety stuff, and not sort of skimp out and not get the right stuff. You can get the high quality products, and you guys will do finance, which I've never even heard of before in drifting, and I'm very trusty here in Murray Motorsport. But that does help a lot. So a discount for the drivers, good prices and competitive prices on the top quality products, and the finance system starting from €37 a month. So I think that's going to be a little bit easier for everybody to swallow. And again, thank you very much for your time, for explaining to us all these products, because they are very necessary in the sport moving forward. We want everybody to go to work or school, as maybe in some people's cases, on a Monday morning, making sure everybody's safe. And I think these products are definitely going to make us, as an organizer, breathe a little easier at night, knowing that every driver has the maximum amount of safety gear they have in the car.
Yeah, so together with you guys, we're on hand for any information. So just pick up the phone, drop us an email, send us a PM. We'll explain how everything works. I mean, you might have some of these products already and not really sure how they work. So just drop us a line.
So an information source as well. Excellent. Well, Owen, thank you very much for taking the time today. We're looking forward to seeing all these products back out on the grid, and for us, we're looking forward to everyone being that little bit safer this year, and again, can push a little bit harder knowing they have the right stuff in the car.